will certainly be equally inspiring for all of you. So let's gear up today for another day of FDP, of growth and innovation. So we have amongst us Professor Odeku. She's a professor of pharmaceutics and former dean of the Faculty of Pharmacy at University of Ibadan, Nigeria. She graduated with a Bachelor of Pharmacy from the University of Ifeanyi Obafemi Oleo University, Alife, Nigeria, in the year 1988, and she obtained her MSc and PhD degrees from the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. She also holds a Doctor of Pharmacy degree from the University of Benin. She joined the service of the University of Ibadan as an assistant lecturer in the year 1993, and she rose to become a professor in the year 2008. Professor Odeku had her postdoctoral training at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem School of Pharmacy, Israel, from 2001 to 2002. She has been a visiting scientist at various universities within and outside Nigeria. She has served as a visiting professor to several universities, including the University of Bonn, Germany, University of Würzburg, Germany, University of Potsdam, Germany, and Krum University of Science and Technology, Ghana, among others. Professor Odeku has received many awards, including UNESCO Israel co-sponsors postdoctoral fellowship, MacArthur Foundation grant, CAS, the World Academy of Sciences Visiting Scholar Fellowship, TWAS Research Grants, DAD Visiting Fellowship, Alexander von Humboldt Foundation Fellowship, and the C.V. Raman Senior Fellowship, among others. She is a 2006 George Foster Research Fellow at the Martin Luther University of Halle-Wittenberg, Germany. She is the recipient of 2021 Humboldt Alumni Award for Innovative Networking initiatives, where she is undertaking a structured mentoring program for women in academia across Nigeria. She is a winner of the 2024 May and Baker Professional Service Award and the 2024 Nature Award for mentoring in science. She is the ambassador scientist in Nigeria for the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, Germany. Professor Odeku's research is in the areas of excipient development, drug delivery, pharmaceutical technology, herbal drug formulation studies, and cosmetics. She has over 140 publications to her credit. Professor Odeku is a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Sciences, the African Academy of Science, the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, the Nigerian Academy of Pharmacy, and the West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists. So with this, I would like to humbly invite Professor Odeku for her talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Odeku. So nice to have you on the platform. So when I was listening to your profile, so I was just thinking that is life too small or life too big? So you have achieved so much in such a short span. It seems like life is such humongous and it's got so much to offer that people can achieve so much in such short span of time. So my heartiest congratulations to all your achievements that you have made, and it's inspiring for all of us here also that we can look forward to building such a nice profile probably in the next future. Thank you very much and welcome to the platform.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chandra. Thank you for the very warm welcome, and I'm indeed very happy to be part of this. And I want to appreciate Dr. Rakesh for extending the invitation to me. We've been collaborating for a while now, and I'm really delighted to be part of this faculty development program. And I especially want to congratulate the organizing committee and the principal for putting this together, because that is the only way we can empower our younger colleagues to ensure that they're on the right path. And today, the theme of the program is really very timely, because we're talking about cutting edge developments and future direction in pharmaceutical and healthcare sciences. It's really topical because we are now looking at the next direction that we will go even as researchers.
Yeah.
I want to try to attempt to share my slide. I know it's
so there are around 1,000 participants in this program, and this program is being online streamed on YouTube. So they have joined in from YouTube. So we are.
That's impressive. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you can see my slide.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
You can put it on slideshow. Or?
It is, but I know it's usually very tricky with
Yeah.
I know it's very tricky with Teams to really put on. Okay, I'll share another version. I hope it will be better. Is it okay? Can you see my slides?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes,
perfect.
yes, ma'am, they're visible.
Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me if it is changing, because I know the interface is a bit tricky. Yes, so I'm going to be talking about digital therapeutics, because we are now in a digital age, and everything, I don't know, I'm sure it's the same in India, we are beginning to look at health in a new direction, because the digital age has come to stay, and so many things are changing. And we'll discover that the digital therapeutics is trying to bridge the gap between technology and medicine. And we have a lot of development presently taking place. And this is the outline of my presentation. I'm going to talk briefly, and I'll just bring out the importance. This is to just stimulate our thoughts as we go on in this faculty development program, believing that some of this innovation can come from your school of pharmacy. So this is the outline of my presentation. I hope my slides are changing.
Yes, ma'am.
Good, very good. So what are digital therapeutics? Digital therapeutics are software-based solutions that deliver evidence-based therapeutic interventions to prevent, manage, or treat medical conditions. Please take note of the keyword. The keyword there is evidence-based, okay? It's providing an evidence-based therapeutic intervention. It could be to manage disease, to treat disease, or to prevent it. And you find out that there are so many general health applications. For instance, Google has one, Samsung has one, a lot of where you can actually track your fitness. You can track how long you walk in a day. You can track how many calories sometimes you burn and all that. But in case of digital therapeutics, they have been clinically validated. So that's the difference. A lot of people are developing applications that can track health, but has it been clinically validated to be useful? So that unlike general health applications, digital therapeutics are specifically created to have direct impact on the patient's health. They often complement or even replace traditional medications and therapies. And I'm going to give some examples in the course of this presentation. And you discover that software is driving a lot of things. And there are various apps for to track diabetes, to track blood pressure, to track mental health, and so on. But I want to take a minute to differentiate between digital healthcare and digital therapeutic products. When you talk about digital health, it relates to all technologies that are used for health-related purposes. They have no clinical evidence or regulation. So, and they include the telehealth, the wellness, or lifestyle applications. I've given an example of that. But when you talk about digital medicine, these are products that are used to measure or intervene in healthcare. And they must have evidence, clinical evidence, so that you now know that there's evidence to support their importance. And they include things like the wearable sensors that transmit data to healthcare providers. Okay, we have I'll give an example of the watch that can actually store the data that it measures over time, and often it is real time. Okay, but when you're talking about digital therapeutics, they have specific clinical evidence. You have clinical evidence, and of course, there's regulatory clearance, because if there's no regulation, then the tendency is that it will be difficult for you to really to track their use, whether there's evidence that they work. But with digital therapeutics, they must have been cleared by the regulatory agencies to work for the purpose they have been designed to work. Okay, they can be they can be behavior programs to manage diabetes, type 2 diabetes, or for self-care programs to treat mental health, or to nudge people to take their medications. Okay, and we discover that with the various interventions, the digital health technologies have continued to expand, especially in the last 20 years. And their new innovations are developed, new applications are introduced, and this is because, whether we like it or not, the life expectancy in the world is increasing. And with increased life expectancy, you also have the challenges of measuring. You have the challenges of managing some chronic illnesses that will require care. And the thing is, with technology, we are trying to put the management of these diseases into the hand of the patient also, so that the patient has a part to play, either to prevent disease or to treat it, to make it more efficient. And so you find out that initially we started with just enterprise system and support, a platform for clinicians and hospital administrators to monitor, to track the health. And then we have digital clinician support services. We have electronic health records and all that, and prescribing system where they can actually store the system, the parameters of the health of the patient. Then later, gradually we had patient-facing wellness and support program where you can actually check and monitor your lifestyle, your wellness. You can look at your physical activity. You can have medication reminder. Then we also have the patient-facing diagnostic and monitoring, where you can actually monitor the digital system, digital diagnostic, digital biomarkers, and remote patient monitoring. Before now, we are moving towards the actual therapeutic intervention, where the clinical interventions can be delivered directly to the patient via a software. And there are different types of digital therapeutics. Okay, some are to treat disease, and those that treat disease must deliver the therapeutic intervention and use clinical endpoints to support the product claim. So it's not just enough for you to claim that this particular digital therapeutic is able to do this. There must be clinical evidence to support it. And then there must be clinical evidence to show that there is a trial has been done. Then the level of claim, is it medium or high risk? Then there must be regulatory, that is the third party, that will check to ensure that the claim is not just vague, but it's something that's it's actually true and it's a function, so that the patient is not left at risk. And then, of course, there also these sometimes for the treatment of disease can also actually prescribe, where you have the patient access, can have those what to do, what's my drug to take, at what time, and all that. And then there's some digital therapeutics that are meant to manage the disease. That is, they deliver the therapeutic intervention. There's clinical evidence to support it. They have medium to high risk claim. And then the third party validation of the efficacy and safety have been done. And then it can be at the end of the day to give a non-prescription or a prescription for the management of the disease. And those digital therapies that are meant to improve health function, I think it's also equally important, but there must be some degree of oversight by the regulatory agencies to ensure that they're actually able to deliver the therapeutic for indication. So it's very important when you are talking about digital health. Why is digital therapeutics very important in modern medicine? We have a rising burden in chronic diseases. We have increasing adoption of telehealth and wearable technologies. And then there's potential for personalized, scalable, and accessible. And this digital therapeutic market is growing very rapidly. You can see the figures as at 2023. It is the global figure is said to be $7.7 billion. But by 2024, which is just about to end, it has grown to $8.9 billion. And it is projected that by the year 2050, it will be over 100 billion. So the market is growing. And therefore, because of the growing market, it's important for you not to have, for the claims not to be so spurious. It must be backed by evidence. I remember we bought one of these smart watches that can track the number of steps you take. It can track your heart rate. It can track your sleep and the time. It can track the deep sleep and so on. And we gave it to my dad. By the way, my dad is 87 years old. And he started tracking everything. He became very conscious that today I've not met up my exercise regimen. He will track how many steps he has taken during the day. He will track the way whether he's able to sleep and all that. Although that also created some problems, because when he now does not meet the goal, he now becomes worried. So we see that the growth is going to be alarming. And one of the things that will make it alarming is the rapid technological innovations. We do a competition in my university, they call it hackathon. And a lot of the young people, the undergraduate students came up with technological innovations. And one of them that was very interesting was the virtual reality. I'll talk about it because it has become something that is used now, very useful now for the management of stroke and other things. And then government initiative is also pushing for digital solution because the health systems are burdened because of the increase in the population and, of course, increase in the number of patients. So they want to find out how they can actually reduce the cost. And then, of course, we are now beginning to understand the benefits of these digital tools, what they offer. So attention appears to be focusing a little more of this on this. But what are the key components of digital therapeutics? What do you need to bring out one of these solutions? Number one is a software. You need a software as a medical device. And this software is a medical instrument software. The SAMD is a medical instrument software which on its own is employed for medical purposes. And it can be run by a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, an electronic device. But importantly, one of the concerns is it should also have data security and patient confidentiality. In other words, you don't expect anybody to be able to access the patient's record. It must be kept confidential. So the system is designed in such a way that you have the data, you can actually impute the patient's data, the lab result, the image, the medical device data, the physiological status, the symptoms. You can actually impute it, and the program will use algorithm, okay, to analyze the data, okay, and then it will now come out with a definite output that, okay, based on these parameters, and this is what is going on with the patient, and this output will inform and drive diagnosis and then help to treat. You know what the patient is sensitive to, you know, it will give you a lot of information because the system is able to analyze the data. Okay, and then of course you know where to go. And the second requirement is the integration of a wearable device where you need an interface with the patient. How is it able to monitor the patient's health real time? And you can see the example I have there. There's a sensor placed on the arm, and of course the data can be transmitted onto a smartphone and you can see it. And this is the Apple Watch technology, which where you can actually set goals. You can know the total, how much calories have you burned, how much, have you been able to meet the goal, and so on and so forth. It enhances patient compliance and engagement because the patients can actually take charge of their own health. They know when they are doing well and when they are not. So it needs to have an interface. And then, of course, the AI and machine learning, which is, the system that will evaluate and that will analyze the results and then come out with solutions. So it will have all the data will be placed in, you have your patient, and you can actually predict. You can predict the outcome. AI can help you predict the outcome. It can help you to adjust the intervention based on the data that is gathered. And we now know that AI is now used in surgery, it's used in inpatient monitoring and all that. So you can actually get all the information about your patients through AI and machine learning. You can actually get all in one. So what are the key principles? The core principles of digital therapeutics? Number one, it must have a clear aim, either to prevent, manage, or treat disease or medical condition. Then it must provide medical intervention powered by software. Then the design also and the manufacturing and quality must adhere to standards, set standards. And then it must engage end user while building digital therapeutic solution and running usability test process. So in other words, when it is being tested, The user also must be engaged, and it must implement patient privacy and security measure, because you do not want anybody anywhere to be able to access the data. There must be patient confidentiality. And then it must follow best practices for deployment, management, and maintenance. And you must get good product review. And that is why when you go online, you discover that most of the manufacturers will want their products to be reviewed, people to comment and talk about how effective it is. So there must be good review. And of course, the claim must be validated. Are the claims really, are the efficacy? What is the risk? What is the percentage risk? So that the patient is not so confident his health is being taken care of, whereas the intervention is not sufficient. Then the results of trials, including clinically relevant outcomes, must be published. It must have gone through a peer review. So it's not something you do solo. It must have gone through a peer review and only make claims that are appropriate for the level of clinical evaluation and regulatory status. Okay, and you must collect data, collect, analyze, and apply real-world evidence of product performance. So these are the core principles. So if you are coming up with a digital therapeutic solutions, they must meet this. They must follow these principles so that they will be able to meet the intended purpose. And it's, of course, validation is also important. So what are the applications of therapeutics? Number one, in the management of chronic diseases, like diabetes and hypertension, you can see the first one here. The patient just places his fingers on this two pad and is able to read the blood pressure, okay, and is able to conduct an ECG interface. So instead of really having all the patients going into the hospital, lying down and doing a lot of things, you can actually measure the rhythm of the heart. And this is another device that is used to measure the blood pressure. You can see the interface. So the patient himself can fix it, and you can look at the oxygen pulse, the oximeter, and also take some other important parameters. They've also been found to be very useful for mental health and neurological disorder. And these tools usually makes use of cognitive behavioral therapy to manage. This application is able to manage anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and so on. And what they use is simple. They look at your thoughts. They want to see how your thoughts interact with your behavior, with your emotion, and also with your behavior. So that when the thoughts come, what do you think? What do you think? Okay? What do you want to, when do you feel stressed? When do you feel depressed? What do you think? Once the thought begins, you look at what are the emotions. What are you feeling? Are you feeling lonely or sad? Then the behavior is why? What do you do? Okay, so the thing is to try to know the triggers. You know what triggers the behavior, and then you try to avoid it. And there are so many apps on Apple to test mental health. And there's one of the technologies is called click therapeutics, which is click coaching. This particular cognitive behavioral therapy management is used for those that want to quit smoking. So it's a digital solution to help users to quit smoking by controlling the urge to smoke through real-time intervention through the smartphone. And it has boasted a 45% success rate. And in the last Since it was developed, it has boasted about $42 million in revenue. And what it does is to use cognitive and behavioral science that is delivered towards through the smartphone, and the technology is designed to disrupt the impulse to smoke. It's AI driven to build skills that you need to achieve and the goal to quit. And then the treatment regimens that it has evolved and adapted through to you as you progress, because it will track your progress, and each day it will give certain prompting that you can actually that will help. And it provides easy access to on-demand coaching or nicotine replacement therapy if you choose to include either of them. And what the app helps you to do is, number one, you set your quit date. When do you want to quit? Okay, then it will personalize your treatment. How often? It will add your own personal motivation. How often do you smoke? It will assess your dependence level. Then it will now engage you to complete daily mission tailored for you, so that you report smoking trigger, keep a quit journal, and also report your process. And then you get control over each impulse. It will give you, when you win, it will, as you keep winning, you can, it will set new goals. You'll be able to gain confidence to quit. And at the end of 8 weeks, 8-week study, over 45% of study participants reported that they are smoking completely for 7 days. And at 6 months follow-up, over 35% had not smoked during the last 30 days. That means they were able to sustain that. Then there's also the app that is approved by the NHS in Scotland and part of England to help a digital solution to treat insomnia and poor sleep using the same CBT, and it has gathered over 35 million in revenue. It's a digital solution, and through 6 weekly 10-minute sessions, it helps you fall asleep faster, spend less time awake at night, and function better in the next day. So it tracks your sleep efficiency, and of course you learn to sleep and relax, and it will provide prompts to different techniques. And the sleep restriction is the most powerful way to increase your sleep drive and set your sleep goals. So the app can help you to set your sleep restrictions. Then it can also rebuild a healthy association between your bed and your sleep, because it will help to control your stimulus. And then your cognitive tools, it will manage your worries and thoughts that makes it difficult to sleep, and of course help optimize your environment, and you have better habits for sleep. So you can see the way the app has been designed. So you can actually interact with the app, and it will help you. You can customize it, feature your sessions, it can reshape your mind, help you to your mind from racing, reshape your mind, reshape your behavior so that you sleep better. Okay? And then there's also the preventive health apps, which are the applications that promote lifestyle like nutrition, fitness, smoking. I think I mentioned that of fitness. You can actually measure your fat, the amount of it can plan your, especially when you want to lose weight, it can plan your diet. Okay, so that the app will prompt you what diet to take each day. How many calories are you are you consuming? How are you keeping up on track with your weight gain? And then there's also the rehabilitation care apps which can help for post-stroke recovery. And what it does with this technology, it will track your numbers, it will track the what you do, the habits. Are you sitting for a long time? What are the exercises you engage in? And if you track your lifestyle habits, you will receive trusted information. When your habits are not healthy, you will receive information on how to manage your habits, how to manage your medications, and and what you need to do when it is time for you to connect with others, and when it is time for you to take your medications. It will prompt you. And this app has been used, and it's found to be effective. It tells the person with smoke when to move, how to move, and all that. Then you also have the gamified app for physical therapy, which will help you be able to direct, okay, when do you move? What do you do? What type of exercises do you do every 2 hours, 3 hours? How do you relax and all that? So that they can actually reduce the visit. So what are the benefits? I've highlighted some of the important technologies that are currently in place. But what are the benefits? You can have increased access to treatment. You have people can access treatments from their smartphone, and of course you can also leverage on large data sets to optimize care strategies. You can actually monitor the patient's parameters over a long time because it's digitally recorded. So you have a large data set to be able to analyze and come out with the treatment outcome. It has been found to improve treatment outcome and patient adherence because the patient now is taking part in the treatment. And then it reduces the cost and the burden on the healthcare system. It lowers stigma because with certain diseases, you have to go to visit especially those that want to quit smoking and all that. You have to go to particular facility, but with this, you can control it right from your own home. And it extends the clinician's ability to care for patients. It provides therapies you can actually customize it in your own language that you understand. You can personalize it to your own self, and then it can provide meaningful results. But there are so many, like, of course, with every good thing, there will always be challenges. There's challenges. They also have their own challenges. In a study conducted among physicians, the challenges are indicated here. They said lack of awareness. 70% of the HCP patients of the patients visiting the NHS in the US. The physician they interviewed say 70% were unaware, they do not know. The patient's ability to engage technology is 67%, and detect challenges at provider end is 53%, and then digital therapeutics is not comparable to traditional therapeutics, traditional treatment. For 7% said so. Most of us still believe in seeing the doctor, knowing the values, having it. Don't want to be because of the lack of trust. We don't want to trust an app. The older generation will not want to talk to a phone and say the phone is it's time for you to take your medication, and so they are very reluctant. And then the doctors believe it will generate additional workload, and then there's lack of funding. Then it increases patient's burden. That is, placing the health of the patient in his own hand will increase the burden to the patient because the patient will have to track so many things. And On the other side, part of the challenges and barriers include the limited prescription capabilities for healthcare providers, and then the difficulty in integrating digital therapeutics with existing systems. Because when you look at the present health system, it now becomes a problem. How do you match the two? How do you make them to complement each other? That will take some time to study to see how this will be able to fit in. And then, of course, when you have health insurance, how do you reimburse? It will bring up complicated reimbursement model. And you discover that this is assessing the risk. As the digital therapeutic solution becomes more sophisticated, the risk becomes higher, especially when you now have to treat. And from the regulatory point of view, there are stringent regulations that the products, the manufacturer will have to fulfill, because they have to show evidence that they really work. And the product claim must be factual and supported by clinically validated results for them to pass through the regulatory status and, of course, obtain the marketing authorization. And there's also the adherence to appropriate labeling and advertising regulation. You do not want a digital therapeutic system to have a bogus claim, and it must be very clear. Does the application support the claim? Yes. Does it support the claim, or you cannot? You should not promise what the app cannot do. And so, with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, they have software pre-certification pilot program in which they appraise the products, and then they look at the intended use and risk, and then they will try to streamline it before they now commercialize and apply to real world. You know, what the kind of data you get from the real world is usually different from when you are doing your clinical trials. Okay, for instance, if you want to do a clinical trial, probably in you are doing your clinical trial in an urban area where majority of the population can use smartphone. They are digitally compliant. But you know, we often make the joke in my university that some people are analog, some professors are still analog. They do not understand digital problems, the digital solutions that are available. So if it works among educated people that have an idea of technology, are you sure it's going to be the same when it's applied to real world, where you have populations that some do not, but I think that do not have an understanding of technology? So that's also, it has to meet specific pre-qualification for it to go into the market. But what is the future? I think whether we accept it or not, the digital therapeutics is a growing market. And I think it has come to stay. And it will continue to progress as science and technology progress. With the advent of AI, there are so many things that are possible. So the future direction is the integration of electronic health record system for seamless data sharing, so that you can integrate the electronic health record system that you have in the hospital with the digital therapeutic solution, so that there'll be data sharing, and you can actually manage the patients in a better and more effective manner. Then there are also advanced technologies like the virtual reality, which is an immersive therapy for pain and mental health. You can see the picture I have there. The person is in another world, because what she's looking at is sort of conditioning her mind, she's immersed in it, and it's sort of conditioning her mind, changing her thinking. She can see herself as, she can see so many possibilities, which can, of course, aid the healing process. And then there's the blockchain, the enhanced security for patient data. This security has always, data security has always been a concern. So this will have to be done. So the global expansion of digital therapeutics and solutions for undeserved region, there are some region where we still have these they've not been reached, so there's need for global expansion. And so that we are looking at working towards having a digital patient, where you have all the digital data. You have your patient here, you have all his data, his lab results, his genetic sequencing, and all that. You have all the information, all in the same place, okay? So that you now have a digital health platform. So you have a digital patient where you can actually use advanced analytics and AI to manage, and you develop a tailor-made solution for the patient, okay? Because you can now bring all the different results together, and then you have a digital patient that where management of the diseases will be more efficient. In conclusion, hospital visits, it has improved patient compliance, and there's cost saving, because the money the patient will use to go to the hospital each time can actually be put to other use, because the patient now has the control. He can manage, he can cooperate, he can collaborate with the health provider to do some things. For instance, for some medication, especially chronic illnesses, you discover that treatment fails not because the medications are not working, but because the compliance is low. But when you have a digital solution that will tell you that it is time for you to take your medication, you have one that will tell you it is time, that will also, and when you have worries, it will, or things that you have not done, it will prompt you to do it. You can actually follow the regimen to achieve better control of the disease. But for it to really be widely adopted and to be effective, there needs to be collaboration between those that are developing the digital solutions, the regulatory agencies, and the healthcare providers. Because the healthcare providers have to believe in it. They have to be ready to use it. Okay? They have to be ready to use it. If they are not ready to use the digital solution, then it will be impossible for the patient to benefit from it. And then digital therapeutics can also bridge the gap between innovation and improve health outcomes, offering a scalable solution to global health challenge. I want to thank you for your attention, and I think I have time for a few questions. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Odeku, for such a comprehensive and insightful talk on a very trending topic, that is digital therapeutics. Even I am wondering if there are any questions on the comment box. I cannot find a question. I think participants really understood what you tried to deliver. But I would like to ask a question, ma'am. What are the ethical considerations when we are intending to design AI-driven digital therapeutics?
Okay, the ethical considerations, importantly, I think the most of the time, the important one is the data privacy. is the because if anybody can hack into the data, then the patient's data will be public. Okay. And then, of course, with any, if you are at the development stage, you want to conduct your clinical trial, you must be sure it's it complies with the ethics of clinical trials. Does it have harm? Can it harm the patient? What is the potential? And how can the patient be protected? Okay, so it must meet those ethical considerations before. But with AI, it's one thing for you to develop the solution. It's another thing for it to be applied in an ethical manner. But like I said at the beginning, sorry, during my talk, the most important fear that people have is their data confidentiality, and whether it will become available or someone can hack into the system. And in fact, in Nigeria, we still have some institutions that still do not use electronic health records because of that fear of, data, is my data safe? Can someone hack into my account and look at what is happening, and can it bring stigma and all that? So that is also a challenge. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hello, Dr.
Aniki.
Rakesha. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, you have explained very beautifully all about this modern healthcare, their regulatory bodies, and all AI, how to use AI in the healthcare system. You have explained very beautifully. Thanks a lot for giving your precious time to us and explain or sharing your expertise at this platform with us. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. So probably we're looking for the next digital solution coming from your university.
We
I hope I've been able to
will all
inspire
be
your students.
simultaneously physically.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Pleasure is all ours. I
Thank
would
you.
like to thank all the participants and faculties who have joined us to this platform for the second day of the 5 days International FDP. Thank you for your patient listening. And tomorrow we'll be back at same time, that is 12 o'clock. And Professor Siddiqui from Saudi Arabia will be there with us. So thank you for joining and have a very nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation. Bye.